Hello everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Thank you for joining us today. The conversation today is about commandments that we can live by. Mantras, positive affirmations that are important. Now, one of our bloggers, Randall Hartman, wrote this article that was so moving because it was about a personal story. A friend of his wife died, and he found in her possessions a list of her commandments to herself. There were 50 of them, and they were just kind of her story about how she thought she should live her life, and to encourage, I guess him in a way to do the same. But they were her private things, and he shared them with Randy, and Randy pulled from that list of 50, 5 that he thought were really appropriate for older women, for people that are dealing with the aging process. And I've talked about all of these things before. They're all things that are important to me personally, and I think have given me strength. But I wanted to share them with you and see whether in some way they can inspire you. Inspire you to do these 5 commandments, 5 sort of instructions for living, and whether they might help you. The first is to live life with intense curiosity. Now, I am a huge believer in lifelong learning, and always looking for things that can stimulate a positive experience, something that brings you joy. And that's really, I think, at the heart of this, is that doing things that are going to encourage encourage the sense of wonder. And in fact, it's really interesting that there's an article or two that I've read recently about how you can actually slow down time by having new experiences. That somehow doing these things that you've never done before, or doing them in a different way, having a curiosity about how they might turn out, they actually can help you to extend those memories into the future, so that it feels like you are spending your time doing more things that you love. It's a little bit of a convoluted story, but I can see it because in fact, I was listening to another article today about married couples, and that one of the characteristics of a couple that can stay together 20, 30 years and more is that they somehow find ways to do new things together, that they use that curiosity that Randall talks about to actually bring new memories and adventures into their life. So it's really kind of a cool commandment. And I say this commandment, I know there's a biblical association with that, but they're saying you really have to do these things in order to have a really beautiful, full life. So having an intense curiosity, living life with that kind of passion for newness and experience. And what is something that you've done recently for the first time? Honestly, I'm even thinking myself, can I come up with any? I know one thing I've been doing is learning French. I've been actually going back to French and learning some French. So that is something I haven't done in a long time. It's not the first time, but just that curiosity, and also learning some German. So language acquisition, that's an intense curiosity for me. So the next thing is to live life full throttle. It's so easy when we're dealing with challenges, and there are enough of them in the world. Trust me, I know this, and I've experienced it myself the last few months, as many of you know, that it's just, not holding back. If there's something that you can do to help someone, or to be, involved in discovering new things, or, going for a walk, or even traveling, doing something for the first time in a way that's just not holding back. I know we've got boundaries around our mobility, the things that we can do, our physical situations, but it's just that ability to refuse to just escape into this kind of obscurity. And I know this is challenging because a lot of women in our community live alone. And we've talked about this in several different articles. It's really captured my imagination because I live alone, and I know how easy it is to just not bother to go out, or just to make the best of your situation at home. It's really easy to just fade into this kind of predictable lifestyle. But that's the second commandment that Randy thinks is wonderful, which is to live life full throttle. Do stuff on your bucket list. Don't wait. Don't just stop doing it and thinking, oh well, this is not an important thing for me to do. So he gives a whole list of different things here, the 50 commandments, but just to stick with the things that are doable. Focus on things that matter most. Okay, it's easy in our lives to sort of focus on the trivial things, do the washing every Tuesday or whatever, but prioritize the things that really matter. contacting your friends, spending time with friends, with family, with grandchildren, if you can do that, building bridges rather than tearing them down. Going out into the world and communicating, with people and engaging and just living life with this prioritization, with what really matters most. And that in itself, I think, is a mantra that a lot of people can live with. I do. I really do. I really try very hard to prioritize what's important. And not that I don't do the other things, but honestly, if you could see my house right now, it's a little bit of a mess because my grandkids were over today. And they're giving me little hours here and there because, as you know, I've had an operation recently and I'm not my full bubbly self. But they came over and, of course, I let them, do all the crazy things. And, I prioritize, though, sitting with them and reading a book. We play some games. We played Jenga. Who's ever played Jenga with children? Yeah, they knock them over every second turn. But anyway, the point is to prioritize what's important and do it. Just do the bucket list. There's another phrase which is it's one of the five, but it's basically the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think as we get older, we think, well, we've done our stuff. We've done all that we can. We're not taken seriously. We might be considered irrelevant. Maybe our conversations are not, acknowledged and listened to. But we've got to somehow believe in our hearts that we have got a way and ways to create a better future. Whether it's just with something in the general world in general that needs to be looked after. Just building a better infrastructure for our children's and your grandchildren. And even if you don't have grandchildren, I know that there are things that are that are needing to be changed in this crazy world. That with group effort and combining with people, like-minded people, can be done. And we never get into much politics here on 60andMe, but for me, the climate change issue is a big one. And I'm looking at what's going on all around the world and, just this kind of impending sense that I can't do anything about it. It's out of my control. How am I going to stop the carbon emissions in India or China or wherever? And you just get this, I give up, this kind of victimization that you feel, what's the point? I don't have any way to control this, but you've got to believe that you still have at 60, 65, 70 years old, you have some, energy, you have the impact to make things better. And I think that I've written several articles and talked about this quite a bit. It's why I'm on some of the younger channels, like TikTok, for example, because I really think that young people could benefit from our wisdom and from our sense of, vision. I mean, we've been fighting all our lives for things that matter. If you stop to think about it, boomers, have been through many tough times, as have everybody. I mean, I talk about, Gen Z and millennials and all these different groups. We've all had it tough. The world is crazy, unpredictable, and easy to think that it's out of our control, but it's not. We can do stuff still. The last one of the five is, everybody has one, a bucket list. What you want to do in these last years of your life. I mean, I'm saying last years. I mean, it could be 10, 20, 30 years and probably will be. But it's just that don't think, oh, I can't do that because I can't afford it. I'm actually going to book a trip. I decided I'm going to go to Japan. I really want to go to Japan. Now, right now, I can hardly sort of think about traveling too much, but I found a really cool place where you can buy, you can book it and then you can pay monthly. And for me, that's always an easy way to plan some travel. It won't be for another year, haven't even got all the details yet. But, if you've got something on your bucket list that you want to do it right now. I mean, I'm just kidding. It's not going to be right now because things take, plans take time and money and coordination. But if you've got something on your bucket list that seems a really distant possibility, then do something like it. You've always wanted to go to South Africa. You've always wanted to go on a safari. You've always wanted to travel to Japan. Maybe you can't do that right now. Maybe there's circumstances in your life that make that impossible. Well, then that's okay. Then just do something else. Go to the next town on a train or bus and have a coffee. Make yourself something beautiful for yourself. Learn a new skill. And I think those are the ways that we can, excuse the siren in the background, that we can actually do things to change our lives and to establish some rules, some commandments, some guidelines, and they're more than just wishes. They actually have intention behind them and they have a plan. If you don't take action against any of those things, then you're not going to achieve them, are you? I mean, it's really important that you don't stop and give up. which, you know, the world always comes and interferes on our conversations, but it kind of makes it real, doesn't it? I feel like it's okay to let the sirens go because, hey, we can take it. We heard sirens before. We know what a siren means. We understand it. We get it. So anyway, I hope that these 5, you know, kind of guidelines, rules, commandments, whatever you want to call them, are useful for you. And I just hope that you're taking care of yourself. Please leave your comments in the section below. If you like this video, please do me a favor and just like it. You know, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do that. And if you've got any comments you'd like to make, I've discovered recently that YouTube loves comments. That if we're talking about sharing more widely and talking to more women in their 60s and 70s, leaving comments on YouTube really helps to get the algorithm, as it is, the way that they share your videos, activated. So thank you again for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Have a really wonderful day and know that you're loved and respected and that I care for you a lot. Take good care, everybody. Lots of love.